Games, board games. I might be talking about board games, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and today will be a quick chat. Sometimes games change midway through, and I will talk about that. When you're doing a playtest and you realize the rules are wrong, when do you continue? Do you change the rules or do you abandon? Do you carry along? Do you think about what's useful to you? Do you think about the enjoyment of your playtesters? What do you do? Board games, playtesting, it's what I'm talking about. When to change the rules of your playtest mid-game, I'm not gonna shout. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. It is 10 a.m. UK time. I think the clock's just changed. So it is 23 hours since I last started this stream, as opposed to 24 hours. I normally stream once a day, but clocks change. What's that all about? Anyway, 10 a.m. UK time, Busy Beats and Board Game Blether. So inspired by that, like inspired by this time changing, I thought, sometimes the rules of a game change. Sometimes you realize that, hey, this isn't good. We need to, maybe a card is costed wrongly. Maybe it should be costing, maybe everyone should be doing 2 actions on a turn rather than 1. Maybe it should be, rather than rolling a die and deciding where to color in, maybe you should just be able to color in literally wherever you want. Maybe the rules are wrong. So what do you do at that point? If you are the designer of a game and you are playing or watching other people play, and then you realize the rules are definitely wrong, what do you do? And yeah, basically, I think the things to think about, to my mind at least, are how relevant is this board position now? Is this board position something that could have possibly happened with the new rules? If so, then maybe it's fine to carry on. Maybe you just think, yeah, they've kind of developed this bond with the board position. They understand the rules. Even if they're going to be, playtesters are going to be annoyed, there's going to be some satisfaction with seeing it through to the end. And also, restarting, it takes a bit more time. But and from your perspective, that's the ideal thing. If the board position is viable, just change it halfway through, and at least you get the satisfaction of seeing how the game finishes. The other question is, are you at the point where seeing how the game finishes is really a useful thing? Are you at the point where you just need to see a couple of turns? Are you at the point where you are playing through the full game? Are you at the point where you really need to go back and have a ponder, because maybe you just you know the rules are wrong, you're not exactly sure how the rules should change, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what I'm thinking about, and I would love you to join in the conversation. Hello to me. It's lovely to see you, and I know you work on digital games rather than physical games, so with digital games it's very different. You can't really change the rules halfway through. Hello, Rob. It's lovely to see you. I know you work in physical games where you could do exactly what I'm talking about. Just change the rules halfway through. Anything goes. That's the thing about physical games. They're super easy to modify. All you need is the agreements of the people around the table. You don't need to delve into the code and type up stuff or whatever. So yes, let me know what you think. When we should keep going, when we should restart, when we should keep going as is, when we should change the rules and keep going. yeah, and it's a mixture of, for sure, thinking about the playtesters' enjoyment. Like today, I am actually going to be playtesting some games with kids. So I'm going to go to a game day, and I've been told that there are some kids who are excited to try my colouring in game. And even if I realise halfway through that this game is terrible, that this cheat is completely non-viable, I might say to the kids, hey, if you both want to stop, you can. But it's down to them. I mean, it's down to making sure that they're having a good time. That's my priority. Whereas when I'm in a playtest group, my priority is that I'm getting the best bang for my buck and every minute counts. I mean, sure, I enjoy playing games through to the end, but when I'm playing games for a designer, the expectation is more that they repay me in playing my thing, that my contributions are valuable, and that's the payments, that they listen to me, that I've involved there. And good morning, Jess. Have you changed your profile picture on Twitch? You are looking gorgeous, and I hope you are generally well. Um, so let's start off with recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. What have you been up to? What have you played? Um, I might actually very quickly show off a couple of private pictures from Facebook to show what I played. So I had a lovely day yesterday. I so I had a lovely day yesterday. I got up, came here, did my quick stream. Someone was coming over to visit. I was feeling super tense. I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not I'm not tidied up. I was feeling a bit sad because, yeah, I don't want to get into details, but a family friend has deceased, and I didn't have the energy to do the tidying up and stuff. So, yeah, I came back, but then with my lovely friend, I said, okay, I'm going to treat you to eating something outside. We went out to the park, to Regent's Park. We I ordered us a pizza and a couple of drinks, and then we played this game, which was Skull or Heart. This was the first time that my friend played, so that hopefully explains why it looks much more like a skull. And whoops, didn't mean to do that. Um, and then if I get the other picture up, this one is fish or car. Let's see if I can get it without the prompts. Yeah, I can't get it up without the comments. So, fish or car, this was the second game we played. One of us was going for fish, one of us was going for car. And it doesn't matter what you say because the first comment determined who won. But yeah, it seems to be working well. We were continuing to roll the dice, color in the bits of the paper, but I am thinking maybe try it with three colors. Maybe that's overwhelming, but it would be an interesting thing to try. Maybe try it with you're allowed to color in two bits at a time. Maybe try that you're allowed to go anywhere you want, that there's no dice at all. Although I think no dice at all might be a bit, yeah, it would lose the excitement of rolling a six and be like, yay, I get to go anywhere I want. And so, um, yeah, this is fish or car. What do you see? Fish or car? Let me know. And then if I get rid of this for a moment, I'm going to check. I will just show the pictures without. And we went around Regent's Park, a lovely day, a beautiful day, and the sun shining, the yeah, sun glowing through the leaves, and it was just gorgeous. And it really picked me up. It really made me feel so much better. And then I came back and had a wee dinner, and yeah, that was lovely. That's what I've been up to. What are you up to? Um, Jess says, thanks, Bez. You are gorgeous as well. Thank you very much. I had delicious steak with garlic salt, played Wordle, and Timmy's been playing some more Elden Ring. I hope that you're enjoying this. And hello, good morning, Josie. It is lovely to see you. And you just missed me showing off my brand new game that I'm definitely playtesting a bit more today. And once the rules are ready, I will definitely want a lot of quantitative playtesting to determine the balancing of this. But I'm super excited about this fish or car, or everyone's gone for the fish or car and love hearts or skull things. But yes, what have you been up to? Let's talk about brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Let's talk about finishing things. So, to do with today's topic, I think that finishing things is brilliant because you get the satisfaction. You get the satisfaction of completion. You feel like, yay, I managed to finish. And if it's a story, if it's a game, then there's the sense of completion. There's the satisfaction of, oh, that's how it turns out. You've not got this niggling feeling of, oh, what's going on? The completion, you came to it, you had your expectations, you expected the game to finish, and then your expectations get fulfilled. And that's a brilliant thing. On the other hand, abandoning things judiciously can also be a brilliant thing. When you're abandoning things, if you do it mindfully, it can save you time. Maybe there's a film you don't enjoy, maybe there's a book you don't enjoy. Basically, it's all about thinking, is this worth my time? Is this worth the time of the other people around the table, of myself to do this thing? Maybe halfway through you realize it just isn't worth the effort. And so abandoning things can also be brilliant. I think it's, again, like so many stuff, it's all about context, but whichever thing you do it judiciously. And Josie says, I see a rabbit. Huh. I don't see a rabbit, but those are not the choices. The choices are on the side of the sheet. Fish or car. You have to choose one of those two. But I am actually interested to see how you see the rabbit. I am struggling to. Is. Oh, yeah! Because, like, the nose has the little bits going in, and it's kind of angry, and then I guess the top bits, yep, the red triangle nose. Oh, no, I was seeing it's completely different. Okay, the red triangle nose and the blue ears. Okay. Yeah, I see that. Okay, I see that. Um, yep. Okay. And what if you had to say fish or car? Do you see either of those? Anyway, I'll leave that up. But brilliant thing. So, oops, let me get rid of that. I don't want to show off people's private messages to me. Yep, I just realised that's. Yep. But comment, ask questions, fun like follow. And if you have any opinions on the thing, then please go ahead. So, main subject. You're playtesting a game. You are the designer. And then you realize the game is wrong. What do? Your options are carry on. As I see it, you've got three options. You've got the option of carrying on with the same rules, carrying on but changing the rules, or stopping and restarting the whole thing again. Maybe restarting on a different day, maybe restarting immediately. And it's similar when you're playing a game in real life. When I say playing a game in real life, like playing a game for pure enjoyment, and then you realize you got the rules wrong. What do? Do you carry on as it is? Do you change the rules halfway through, or do you restart? Well, or alternatively, there's a fourth option. You could try and fix it. So if someone's made some decisions that would clearly be wrong in the new set of rules, then maybe you give them some extra resources or something. What would you do? And Um, and yeah, so if you are playing a game for enjoyment, I think that there's only one thing to really worry about, which is the enjoyment of everyone around the table. And yes, that includes yourself. Yes, that means that, yeah, so this is exactly what we're talking about. Because if you play a game, and let's say you're playing a game and then someone consults the rules and they're like, hey, wait a minute. Oh, we green doesn't change. Let's say you're playing Century Spice Road because that's fresh in my mind. I played it on Wednesday, and then halfway through the game, you realize, hey, wait a minute. You're allowed to use these cards multiple times as one action. You're allowed to use them multiple times if you can. That changes everything. That means that I would have totally changed which cards I got potentially. These and is that cheating? Sure, if you're doing it for the purpose of advantaging one person, then 100% it's cheating. If I were to deliberately withhold the rules to say, hey, I'm not telling you about this, but then halfway through the game, then I spring it on everyone, 100% that's cheating. But when it comes to a playtest is not about, like, again, it depends on the context. Who are you playtesting with? If you're playtesting with people who are not designers, then it's up to the designer to try to get a meaningful, valuable playtest. If you're playtesting with other designers, normally the deal is this is your time. You do whatever you want. And so the designer of the game is controlling that. And so everyone else, by joining in the playtest, you've kind of agreed to play by the rules that the designer asks. And so halfway through, if it's a short game, if you've only played a single turn of it, if it's only 5 minutes in, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's a terrible. Let's swap some things around. That's the designer's prerogative. The designer does whatever is most valuable to them. But then when the next designer is doing their things, it's for them to lead. That's the way it is in designers to designers playtests, if you know what I mean. And yes, as Rob says, it is the game designer's prerogative. And when you are playtesting with other designers, we just let the designer do whatever. But if you are playing, and I'm glad that that sounds reasonable, and if you're playing, but then if you're playing with other people who are not designers, it's totally different. If you are playing with, again, as I said at the start, today I'm going to a real life, well, game playing day. We're going to meet in the pub. We're going to play a bunch of games. There will be a bunch of children there, and the children are going to be playtesting my game. I'm not going to be changing the rules for them halfway through. At least not without, like, I will be, I would make sure that the game is a little bit further along before I playtest it, what I would call publicly. And secondly, if I do really need to change it, I would be more thoughtful about the enjoyment of the other people. I want them to keep wanting to play test with me. I want to prioritize their enjoyment. And so that's the way it is at a playtest. Yes, Rob says the aim of a playtest is to learn things about how the game works, and that may involve changing rules, restarting, or finishing early 100%. Now, let's say as a designer you learn it's a 10-turn game, or maybe you've gotten to the 8th turn and each turn is taking a couple of minutes and you realize, oh, wait a minute, this is a terrible set of rules. These actions were completely imbalanced. Do you bother finishing? Again, as a designer at a playtest, I would say if I'm playing with other designers, probably not. If I'm playing with people who I hope to are there because they are enjoying and having a good time, probably yes. And this is the key thing, because there is satisfaction to be had in finishing a game. Jess, I know you aren't super bothered if you don't finish a game, but Josie, Rob, like within a casual setting, if you were playing with people who are essentially there as a favor, I would be interested to know what you do. And Josie says, I would try to fix it if you can. Like, if you're only allowed to do 2 actions per turn rather than 3 as an arbitrary thing, then yeah, maybe you give maybe you play until the end of the round so that it affects everyone somewhat equally. If you are changing the rules. And Rob's what Rob says, 100%, you need to establish a magic circle of expectations. You need to make sure everyone's on the right page, on the same page. The right page is the same page. I mean, my right page can be the wrong page if I'm in a different setting. I mean, if there's a group of board gamers and there's always like 10 people who go and all of them generally play games, and the expectation is that we play a game that I imagine taking 15 minutes, but that one game takes them an hour to play because there's so much mid-game chat, well then my expectation is clearly misaligned, and I need to, and it's about, as Rob says, being getting your expectations aligned. Within a playtest, the assumptions are indeed different. If you are in an established playtest group on a Friday, the assumptions are very, how should I put it? The assumptions evolve over time, over the course of from playtest group to playtest group. The assumptions are okay. You've got 90 minutes. You've got to sort out your game and your the playing of your game and the discussion of that game, and whatever you need to do, you do that within 90 minutes, and it is down to the designer. And what are the responsibilities of the designer to the players in that setting? The responsibilities are just, when you've said this is the kind of game it is, that you do that kind of game. And frankly, as David Brain says, David Brain ends up playing games that they would not like to play all the time. David Brain has played Yogi Guru. I mean, David Brain doesn't like dexterity games and still plays the most ridiculous dexterity game in the world. That's a bit. I'm not going to make that claim. Let's dial that back. One of the most ridiculous dexterity games in the world. Rob says, if I was going to end the game early, I'd try to come up with a sensible place to end the agreement of the players, but circumstances can vary. I have in the past just dumped a game mid-turn. This isn't working, and I think I can see why. Thanks for your time. I won't waste any more of it. And that's such a good thing to do. And yeah, if you've set a bunch of expectations, especially in a situation where you are splitting up into multiple groups. Maybe one group you said, okay, we're going to play some quick, like 5-minute music game, and here we're going to play a strategic game. Your the responsibilities are to kind of actually do what you said, if you know what I mean. And so, yeah, but when you're playing in a pub, if you're playing with kids, if you're playing with friends who are coming around your house and playtesting for a favor, there is an increased responsibility to care for their amount of fun, to care for what they are able to do and what they would enjoy. So at this point, maybe express yourself, maybe say, hey, just to let you know, I think that this game is problematic. I think that this rule should actually be that rule. How would you like to proceed? Would you like to finish the game? Would you like to change it, or would you like to abandon it? And see what people are thinking. That's a good option. Get the straw poll of the players and always remember to give them the option to finish a game early. Just says, if I'm not enjoying the game, then I don't care if I finish it 100%. And I've gotten more on board with that. I've played some games. I've played games with a timer, by which I mean house ruled a timer and said, okay, we are playing Flux. And if after 40 minutes we're not done, then we will just finish it up. And I think that's a really healthy thing to do, because it is, again, all about the enjoyment of the people around the table. And if you're... And hello, Marcus. Oh, sorry, Marcel Surco. It is lovely to see you, and I hope that you're generally well. We are talking about when to... So, again, do you end the game and do something completely different? Do you end the game and restart? Do you carry on with these rules even though you know that they are wrong? Do you carry on and try to fix it? Let's talk about trying to fix an issue. Let's talk about how to change the rules mid-game. If you want to be fair to the players, and maybe that's not the main priority in a playtest, but if you want to... wow, some crazy stuff going on in chat today. I am... I'd like to break up... This isn't realize you were together. It's always a combination of knowing what you're trying to achieve with your test and empathy for your players, 100%. Why are they there? Like yesterday, I was playing with Ellie Dix, James Wallace, Will Sorrell. There's someone I'm forgetting, I'm sure. Yeah, those three people came along with designs of their own. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. And there was also Perrin, who had no designs. Like those three people were all about coming to playtest their own thing, coming to see people, and that was what's going on. With Perrin, it's coming over to see how games are made. I think and Josie says, yes, I agree with some of these never-ending games that could literally carry on for hours and hours. It is worth house ruling from the start. Jess apparently has a plan to get together with Rob, but yes. Oh, you peeps. Jess is such a troublemaker. Anyway. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Jess's relationship with Rob is over before it's even started. Oh my gosh. Look, I am not trying to compare ending board games to ending a relationship. They are completely different. Yes, it is like a soap opera here. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. What are you children all about? I say children knowing that at least one of you is older than me. But yes, and anyway, yeah, changing rules mid-game. If you maybe do it at the end of the round, maybe check in with people. Maybe if someone's made some terrible choices, then say, okay, shall we give you some extra money or some extra food or something? Because, oh my gosh, we're playing this game and we're all farmers and then we need to feed our workers, but then we realize that actually we need twice as much food to feed them. Well, maybe just for this round, we'll give everyone 5 extra food, because then that means that everyone actually has enough food to feed your 5 workers. And I know that if you'd actually known you had to have this much food to feed your workers, you would have gotten that food. So, like, maybe give some people, everyone, some extra resources to make sure that no one is going to be unfairly punished. Maybe change the rules at the end of a round. So, and that's pretty much it. Just do it with consent. Do it equally. And if someone is unfairly punished by the transition, let's say one person was all about the blue factories, because I'm building up all the blue factories because of the blue factory synergy. Because then when I do this blue factory, then I can do that blue factory and then can do that. But suddenly we learn you can only run one blue factory in a turn. This is all a hypothetical game, by the way. And then you realize, hey, oh my gosh. And then maybe you'd say to that person, okay, well, if you've got too many blue factories, how about you can swap some of your blue factories for some red hospitals or some yellow residential buildings or whatever if you want. And so you kind of give people a quick chance to undo some of their mistakes. Now, I think that's important. Like, think about how the transition affects people. Think about if someone's unfairly impacted. If they are, then maybe offer them an opportunity. But again, I think the ideal situation in that would be to say, well, everyone who has blue factories, if you want to swap any of your blue factories for other things, then, or like something that costs the same amount of money or resources, then we'll do it right now and we'll do this one-time thing and then we'll just keep going. And then we still get the satisfaction of the game. The blue factory player might be a bit upset that they're not able to do this amazing blue factory plan that they had, running 10 blue factories in one turn. Then that comes to, like, should you actually just keep going? And in a playtest, I would almost never do this, but with a real game, there is some enjoyment to be had, because it doesn't really matter what rules you play with in a real game. I mean, when you're just playing for the enjoyment, that's all that matters. When you're playing with people around the table, the point isn't to work out what set of rules is best. The point is to have a good time. And if what would give everyone a good time is to play with the rules as originally described, then someone might say, oh, I forgot to say that, but you know what? Shall we just keep playing with the rules as I explained them, because no one actually knew about that and you all understood the same rules, so it is still a fair game. But we'll write an asterisk that we aren't actually playing the game, we're playing a slightly different game with the same components. And normally I find that people are, as long as the game is just about functioning, I find that people will have more fun doing that. And some actually, again, check with the players, check with the consent of the players. But if you've generated a plan, if it's a game with long-term planning, and then I really, really, really wanted my 10 blue factories in a turn right at the end to swing my way to victory, then even if it doesn't pan out, even if it ends up that someone else ends up with slightly more points than me because of their better rounded stuff, I think that, yeah, you want to give people the opportunity to see that payoff. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. 10 blue factories. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the topic. If anyone else has any questions, if there's anything that you think I might have missed, then please let me know. This feels like the kind of thing that maybe I should actually, if I had a weekly blog, like if I was a person to be organized enough to say, hey, I'm going to write a thing every week, this feels like a good topic. But yeah, let me know what you think about changing rules, stopping games halfway through, whether you're a designer or whether you're just reading the rules from the rulebook. Timmy is infinity years old, has always been here, immortal and endless. Josie um, suggests a game idea, a never ending game, and one of the rules is to create your own ending conditions. I mean, in theory, Flux starts off like that, like there's no goal, and so it feels like it would be treading down a similar path. Like, how would that work? So we're either saying the game ends after X turns, or the game ends. I mean, all games end either when a player has done X, or when something has happened communally. So maybe it's a game of tweaking the end game triggers, and I think like I do like variable ending games, and I do like games where you can control the ending, and it does remind me of that philosopher game, Philosophia, I think it's called, where a small part of it is you're pushing towards the end of the game when you're like, hey, I'm winning, now I'm going to push forward the end of the game. But I'm not sure. Like right now, I'm struggling to think of how I could make that interesting enough to be the primary mechanism. Um, Jess is complaining about past breakups, saying a never-ending game might lead me to feel confused forever. I like an end. Ending conditions, like the end of a bug's life. There's a big fire and they all die. Sure, there could be like an event card that happens, or a certain number of cubes on a certain space that is an end game condition. But I mean, yeah, if it's a game where who the winner is constantly changing me, um, apparently that's yeah. So that's not the true. That may or may not be the true ending of a bug's life, and but yeah. What do you have anything else to say about ending stuff? If you've not got any extra stuff, I'm going to kind of finish up at this point. Let's ask question of the day. Question of the day was a little question before we go on our way. I'm going to ask, when's the last time you ended a game early? I would like to know that. Also, when's the last time that you were playing a game and then you found out the rules were wrong, and what did you do? So for me, the last time I ended a game early was on Friday. The last game that I played, I think we played it at around 4 o'clock, maybe 3:50 to 4:15, and we played 3 rounds of it. It was a first ever playtest. Ellie had brought it out, said, yeah, this is a game that we will play a few rounds of. It might crash and burn. I don't know what will happen, but we'll maybe play 3 times around the table. We played 2.5 times around the table. I find that quite often when people say, oh, we'll play so many times around the table, the information comes a bit before then. And there was a good amount of information. Ellie had information on what to change, and so we stopped. The game before that, that was a published game, that I realized the rules were wrong. Century Spice Road. We discovered that the cubes give you points at the end of the game. Now, we hadn't really been preparing for that, and I was about to win. Like, it would have made me win more. I don't think it would have changed who the winner was, but I was about to trigger the end of the game. And so it felt a bit unfair to say, hey, there's 1 round left to go out of this like 15-round game. Now, let's change the scoring condition at the end. So we just decided we're going to play as we decided at the end, at the start even. So, Just says, I had a happy ending this week, and I don't mean the rude Bangkok type. I don't like the games my friend Jason likes. They're like that game I played with Bez once on Board Game Arena. Do you mean King Domino? Because I remember Jess really not liking King Domino. Um, I'm happy to end those games early. Yeah, like if you are not enjoying something, then yeah, why finish it? In real life, I like a good discussion and a resolution before something ends. And I think the same is true of a game. Surely you want a discussion and saying, okay, we're not enjoying this, and admitting that you both don't enjoy it is surely your um, resolution. Rob says games like Nomic and 1,000 blank white cards start with no end conditions and develop them in play. Yes, 100%. But it's not just about developing the end game condition. It's also about developing the rules and how you gather points and all those sorts of things. And I do think that those are really interesting games. And I think that those games might have been parts of what's inspired Seize the Power. Rob says, last time I went to a playtest session, 2 of the games I played were stopped early. Although neither of them was mine, as my game was very short. And that's another point. Like, if your game is literally 7 minutes long and there's a couple of minutes to go, at that point, maybe you're just going to stay quiet and letting the game finish and see if the playtesters make the same, give the same feedback that you expect them to. Maybe you already feel like there's not enough stuff going on in the turn, but maybe if there's only 2 minutes left, let them play it out and then see if their feedback kind of meshes with what you suggested. Photosynthesis played in a board game cafe with people who had never played before. We didn't read the rule about the big tree and them coming back to your stock. Oh my gosh. So you were playing that once your tree ascended, like that was it? Like you could only ascend so many times. Wow, that is a very different game. That is, wow. That's not a good game. Yeah, that would be a bad game. Like that, I'm just imagining that. Yes, at that point, you definitely want to fix it. You definitely don't want to. So we played without this rule to the end. We realized it felt broken. Then we checked the rules and played on without the real rules. Oh, so I'm slightly confused. So you play. Also, you realized it felt broken. You checked the rules, but you decided that you're better off playing without the rules of them coming back to your stock because that's the assumptions that you've made. Last game I ended early was on Board Game Arena against Bez. I've not been on for a while. Have you officially ended our game of, what was it? Race for the Galaxy. And so, yeah, that is my question of the day. Thank you for your answers. And over to what are you up to? You can share, but only if you want to. If you've got anything you want to share, something you're looking forward to, I promise that I care, whatever you're up to. Whether it's fun and frivolous, super serious, exciting or boring, super fun, or just something you need to get done. I am going to, in half an hour-ish, maybe like 11:30, within an hour, I'm going to be cycling off to the Salisbury, get there for 12, maybe order some Sunday roast, and play a bunch of games with kids. And also then possibly some more adult games, by which I mean complex games that a 4-year-old could not play, with adults afterwards. So yes, I met new friends on Wednesday, which is lovely, and they're bringing their children along because it is, of course, Mother's Day. And I am going to make a point of phoning up my mum. Thank you, Jess, for the reminder, who says if you are based in the UK, or even if you're outside of the UK and your mum's UK based, maybe phone your mum today. Josie is off to see her mum and take her for afternoon tea. That sounds delightful. Jess might get to ketogenic cheesecake and watch Downton Abbey, and soon gets to spend 6 weeks for the family. Um, Josie says, off to see the mum taking Wibble as she enjoys word games. Are you playing Wibble specifically? Because I found that with older generations, I don't know if you've got time, but read the rules to quintuple. I'll try and find the quin. No, that I deleted all my cookies a few weeks ago, and now I can't just type quintuple and expect it to pop up. But quintuple is a very simple turn-based game. She might also enjoy couple, I don't know, but it depends on the individual. But let me actually send the rules to quintuple so you can see if that is something that you would enjoy. Jess says, I need to stay inside so I don't catch COVID. Oh, my mum loves word games. I could get her Wibble for Mother's Day when I get home. You could, absolutely. Timmy says Downton Abbey is good, and also I've been watching Gilded Age, which is the same creator. Cool, I've got to admit, I have not seen that either, but I have heard so much love for Downton Abbey. But yeah, I don't even really know what kind of thing it is about. I hear that it's actually a bit more risque than I thought it was. But yeah, what are you up to? And I will recap and wrap up before we finish up. So to recap and wrap up, think about why you're playing. Think about why the people around the table are playing. Are they designers who are playing just to help you learn about your game? In which case, if you already learned what you want to know, then finishing the game is not only wasting time for yourself, it's also wasting time for your playtesters. It's like, what's the point in us carrying on this game? If you might be thinking, how much of a bond do people have with their board position? Were they gearing up for this one massive turn with the 10 blue factories that maybe you still want to let them do it? Or if they just, like, you might ask them explicitly, how much do you care? And maybe you might think, well, if that's what the playtester really wanted, maybe that should be in the game. Maybe let the game play out, especially if there's only a couple of turns left, and then see the reactions at the end. Think about how much is left in the game, how much, and if you're restarting, if you're going back to the start, then that can sort of take quite a bit of time. But if you're, let's say you're exactly in the middle, that's the point where there's an actual decision to be made. And again, this is all contextual because, like I said at the start, finishing things can be brilliant. You get the satisfaction, you get the joy of finishing the story, but then stopping things can also be brilliant. Don't waste time. Don't be doing things that have no value. I mean, if 4 people around the table are really enjoying something and you're not, either like see if it affects the game if you drop out, or pretend like maybe you're carrying on through it. But if there's like 3 people around the table who aren't enjoying the game and 2 people are, then no, it may. And again, there's degrees of how much you dislike the thing, or degrees of how much you like the thing, and degrees of how much it bothers you. But go with the majority opinion. If it's, and again, it's context. Are these designers, are these little children who were coming along expecting to play a cool colouring game, and then if you say halfway through, oh, this game is busted, then they will just feel a little bit sad. I mean, yeah, think about, and then if you're changing the rules halfway through, try to change it in a equal way. Even if that rule is unequal for the players. Like if you realize that these blue factories aren't as good as they actually were, let everyone swap their blue factories for something different. If you realize that that you need more food than you thought you did to feed your workers, give everyone enough food so that everyone has enough to feed their workers, but give everyone the same amount of food. And yeah, that's how I would sort of play it. That's how things I would think about when changing a rule. Make it right if you can in the middle of the game. That would be my general intuition. So that is us, and that's the end of my show. If you want to check me out, then I am Stuff by Bez everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I stream every day at 10 a.m. UK time, and YouTube has the old shows and stuffbybez.com/Discord for a bit of chatter and natter. Tomorrow I am having Ree and Laurie on. I should actually probably post about it on Board Game Trading and Chat UK, or maybe the Board Game Group. Let people know that tomorrow we will be talking about environmental concerns in board game production with Rhea and Laurie. On Tuesday, I'll be talking all about Terracon with Mark Cook, one of the people who made it happen. Wednesday, I'll be talking with Jess Medringham. We'll be talking about her Kickstarter that's just finished, that's just about to finish, about my Kickstarter that just finished, and we'll be having regular discussions every couple of weeks to kind of give each other a bit of support. So Jess is going to come on as a regular guest every Wednesday when Alan Paul isn't here, so it will be alternating Jess and Alan. Thursday, I've got no idea. If you've got a suggestion, feel free to let me know. Friday is 1st of April, and I will be going to Royal Festival Hall to playtest, and then on Saturday, Sunday, I will be at a design camp. So feel free to jump in. Thank you for watching the stream. I massively appreciate it. Yes, just, it might not be a critique. It might be like more of a getting things off the chest. But if you think that other people will be interested, share, spread the word. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Josie, Rob, Jess, Timmy, all of you for the lovely chat, for your presence. I do genuinely appreciate it. That is basically it. And at this point, I think there is only one thing left to say. And that one thing, as always, is bye-bye. Oh, before I do, Josie is looking forward to the things, and again, even though I might not flag up every single thing, I do absolutely enjoy reading things and knowing that you're about to taste a lot of cream cakes. I'm not going to indulge because I'm trying to, yes, I have had a lot of sugar recently, but I'm trying to cut down. But yeah, you are all lovely. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. And this is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a lovely day. And yes, remember, if we're in the UK, it's his Mother's Day. Bye-bye.